In this video, I'll show you how the Figaf tool can help you running DevOps for your SAP integration process. So here we have the Figaf tool. It's a standalone Java application that connects to your SAP CPI system. And we can see our CPI landscape we have here. So if we want to go in and see what we have, we can easily go in, check the integration that we now need to make a fix for. So let's go in here, select the iFlow that we have a reason to fix. We can go into edit mode. We can change the value to DevOps, save it as a version, and so this is version 84, and deploy it. So now we have created a change in our iFlow, and we want to make sure that this always works and we can move it as we expect to do. So we'll go to the tracked object. The tracked object contains all the different objects in your CPI landscape and enable you to fetch the data and do comparison versioning, and with that you know who have made changes to the object at which point in time. So we can do a refresh, we can see what was changed here. If we look at the last change, we can see that there was a change here. If we actually want to see what was actually changed as a part of it, we have versioning comparison for all objects, and we have created a simplified model. We can see the old version was changed, and we can go in and see specifically what was changed as a part of this. So we have created a simplified BPM model that shows you only the important part of this this change. So we're good. We know that this is what we want to have, and we want to assign this to a ticket. So we got a reason to fix this demo. So we'll create as a title that called DevOps demo. We will select the landscape we want to use for this, and we have a Jira ticket called this, and we can put in the link and the description to Jira here if you wanted to. We can then create a ticket, and with this ticket we have all the information needed for us to transport and manage this object. So first off, we obviously need to test. We can see here what are the objects. If we go back to the object, we'll be able to see for all the other versions which have been assigned to other tickets in this process. But for now, we just want to edit the current thing. The first thing we need to do before we can release anything and make sure it works is that we will look up what are the different test cases we have, and here we have a whole bunch of them, and we only want to just use the last one. Normally you will make sure that all of these different test cases is valid, so you can always run all of these test cases. So now we have created this, and we can specify it to run on a specific system in our landscape, and we run it on our development system. And the way we run it is we switch the iFlow into trace mode. Once it's in trace mode, we'll send the message through, and we can then see how it behaves, and we can download all the different messages as a part of this, and we can see how it performs. So let's see the result here. So it just takes a little while for it to download and get all the data. So we can see most of it is successful except here. And we want to look into what the default are, what the difference here is. So we can see here that this good value 2 was changed from something gobbledygook to DevOps, which was what we expected. We have two options. We can either go in and ignore this, which is probably not a good idea because it may have some valuable points. If there are changes in the XML document, we could also see them here. What we wanted to do is we want to make sure that this test case is valid, so we will just update the test case, and that means the same test case next time we run it will actually expect to have DevOps in this part of the process. So now we have tested it, and if we wanted to, we could run this again, and let me just do that and get the result for it. So now we can see everything was run and it is all successful. So now we have tested the change, we have made sure the test case is updated. So next time we run it, it is all successful. Next up is we obviously want to be able to transport this. And to do that, we can use this transport organizer. Here we can select transport. And with this, we can transport objects individually. So we can transport packages, iFlows, value mappings just in one transport. So here we have our iFlow. The main difference is in the iFlow, you can go in and specify what values should be applied to these things. So here I can go and change the API key in my QA, in my productive system, in a simple way that does not enable or require me to have any knowledge about or to log into the system afterwards, run the configuration and make sure it's there. I get all this information here. So this could be API keys, it could be host names, services, and all these different kind of things that you want to be sure you're updating in the remote system. Also, we're getting a warning here for a user credential that it says, hey, this user credential is not found on the system. Please go and update and make sure it's there. For now, I'll just say, hey, it's okay, I don't care. But if you're doing a QA on this, you probably will go and say, hey, there's something wrong with it. So I send it to approval, and I'm also logged in as an approver. If I was not an approver, users would need to go as the approver, say, hey, please approve this. They can go through, review what has been happened, approve it, and once they have approved or rejected it, it's no longer possible to make changes in the process here. They can then specify here what who had approved it. We can go and import it, and now it will run the import. And in this process, you have some different options. You can specify who. So let me just. So let me just, while this is running, show you what you can specify in the landscape as a part of this release process. So for the CPI landscape, we have a number of systems, and obviously you would have 3 or 4 here. We have added the same agent as our QA system also, and that means it will actually use it as a virtual landscape that will just add pre and post fixes to iFlow once it deploys it. I can also specify whether I want to deploy this once it has been imported, and I can specify who should be approved, and we can then change the approvers for this process in here. So let's see if so now we can see everything was successful, and we're still getting the same warning, hey, user credential is not there. We can go and update and make sure it works. So now it is just about setting it to resolve, and now we can create a report that shows, hey, these are the things that we have done as a part of this ticket. So here we have the Excel document that you can then add to your Jira system, saying this was what we did. These are the changes that have happened. This is the test case that we run. This was the errors that we are getting in this. And here we can see what objects we have imported and when they were done and stuff like that. So this all makes it really simple for you to do the change management governance of your releases. One other thing we have added to make it easier for you as a developer is to, for instance, edit and manage the Groovy script, is that we have created a Git repository that we populate with all your iFlows and all the content in the iFlows and value mappings. And in here you can see the same value mapping. So if I just update here, take the data here, we can see the iFlow here. And if we wanted to, we could also see the changes that have happened in this Git synchronization. We here have our packages, so we can change this to 0 to DevOps, set this header here, and the normal process for updating something like that will be to change it here. Then you needed to upload it. We have created a Gradle plugin that you can use. It's open source, and this actually just gives you this as a pop-up here that says, hey, you can upload it directly here, and then you can actually also deploy it. So it will deploy it once you're done with it. One of the other things you want to do is you want to be able to run and debug these things. So we have created, based on the test case we have created, we can create test data for it without having to do anything. So it creates all the scaffolding that is needed for you to run a Groovy script, and with that you can actually go in, run a specific test case here, and what it will then do is it will get us into debug mode, hopefully. And here we can see, hey, we got this data at this specific point in time. We can rerun it, we can resume the program. So now we're getting into the next message. So this gives us a lot of understanding about what data exists at the specific levels. So you always know what's going on in it. And if you just want to run some tests on it, we also have the option that you can just say, hey, run it normally, and then you will, here you can also see the result of these tests, what they are, and that enables developers to run things locally and see what is going on with regards to these options. So all in all, really a simple way to deliver these things and deploy it directly from in here, and make sure you can see all the relevant details you have on it. For the testing, we have a lot of options. I recommend going to the Figaf testing tool. It's the same tool, all of it, but it is just we'll go a lot more into details about all the different tests that you can run in it. We also have the support tool, and also go in and check the alerting capabilities there. This is about fetching all the different messages and iflows that are failing, set up automated rules based on this, and give users a better understanding of what's going on, proactively monitor these things, and if there's something that can be automated or changed, it will then trigger messages to these guys. There's also a monitoring capability that allow you to monitor 3 iflows that's a part of a process in one tile, and give access to this one tile to a user. This makes it a lot simpler to see what's going on, who's processing what, and accessing both persisted messages and MPL attachment just in one view. And you can give users access to this via the system. So I hope you liked it. Go to figaf.com/DevOps to try it out. It is really simple to get started. Within an hour, you're able to create the first transport test cases and all these different kind of things. So go check it out, figaf.com/DevOps.